the beat, I can't stop. Don't stop the beat, I can't stop. Don't stop the beat, don't stop the beat.
Why is it that Epstein's estate, I mean, the Todd Blanche, the president's deputy attorney general now, he wrote this morning that when he went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, quite a moment, that law enforcement didn't have the materials that Epstein's estate hid for years and only just provided to Congress. Why is he saying this now, and why is the estate talking to Congress if not to the...
Have you ever heard of CIA? That's exactly what we've got going on. And it was interesting because you made a Freudian slip. You said the president's attorney. You're right. That's who he is.
I should have said former personal attorney.
That's who he is, though. Like, I'm sticking with it. I get what you got to say. But at the end of the day, that's what he's been trying to do. He's been trying to do Trump's bidding. He has not been acting like anyone's attorney general. And we know that when it comes down to whether you're the deputy or whether you are, say, Pam Bondi, the actual AG, you are supposed to be the people's attorney. But she has decided that she wants to neglect the people and do whatever it is that Trump wants her to do, along with Todd Blanche. So here it is. He's like, well, I didn't have all the information. Well, sir, did you try to get the rest of the information? Do we know for sure that the Department of Justice didn't have this information? And if they didn't have this information, do we know whether or not they actually deleted this information? Do we know that there was a thorough investigation? Do we know whether or not the investigation had concluded? These are all questions that we need answers to, but we can't get them when you're not cooperating. So we don't know what the DOJ has, nor what it is that the DOJ potentially was trying to do. Considering that the president right now is trying to obstruct on some very basics of let's just get a subpoena that says release all the information, I wouldn't be surprised, just like he obstructed the prosecution of one of his henchmen who took $50,000 in taxpayer dollars from undercover officers. I wouldn't be surprised if he sent a message and said, stop investigating. We're done with this. Epstein's dead. I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I have no idea. No, that's the whole point. I have no information. And that's why we need these files to be released, because we are looking for transparency, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. Listen, if people decide that they want to continue to support a person who may be a pedophile himself or a person who obviously is covering for pedophiles, that's on them. But they should know at least the devil that they have decided to pick.
We saw at the top of the show a number of, at the time, Donald Trump surrogates and supporters, including his son and his vice presidential nominee, say that the Epstein files should be released. Obviously, there was a Democrat who was president at the time, Joe Biden. Why were Democrats not louder at that time about this release?
So a couple of things. Number one, you had pending litigation. So we're not the ones that went out making some campaign promises. In fact, the vast majority of Democrats had been campaigning on things such as affordability. I know that Kamala Harris had an actual plan so that people wouldn't necessarily be stuck in a mortgage for 50 years, but instead she wanted to make sure that they could have $25,000 down payment so that they could move into homes and make life overall more affordable. So we were focused on the bread and butter issues. This was a campaign issue of his. But while there was pending litigation, if you look at when Maxwell was finally convicted, and honestly, she just finished probably one of her last appeals here recently, you are not usually in the middle of an active case and then you say, oh, yes, we're going to release everything. That's not how that goes. So she was prosecuted under the Biden-Harris administration. So no, this was not something to do at that point in time. At this point in time, it's clear that they are not interested in going forward with any additional prosecutions, in addition to the fact that the survivors have come forward. They are begging Congress to do this. This is not something that the survivors were necessarily doing at that time. They were still believing in the system and hoping that it would work. Well, there is this feeling within our base that we need to have younger people. I will tell you that I don't necessarily just subscribe to ageism. I'm going to be perfectly honest, because even when you look at the votes and you look at the 6 Democrats that actually broke ranks yesterday out of the House, I can tell you that they weren't all elderly. There were a number of very young people. Definitely one of the members is younger than me. So I think that it is about who is willing to fight in this moment and what does that fight look like. So I think New York will have to decide, if Alex does decide to run, who is built for this moment. And I really want to urge all Americans that were disappointed with the 8 Senate Democrats to not get disappointed or disenchanted with the party as a whole. But when you go out, don't just vote for a Democrat. vote for a Democrat that is ready for the fight that we're in at this moment, one that is looking for accountability with this rogue administration.
All right, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thanks very much for spending some time with us today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate having you. All right, coming up next in the arena, Senator John Kennedy will be here live as we get